This slideshow has two purposes. One was to talk about presenting as a conversation with the big purpose that of one more time in front of the class to help you with butterflies so that, yes, you've stood up in front of class and talked to this group of people, helping your walk and talk presentation to be a little bit easier later on. However, it also had another purpose, and that is to examine the difference between what is factual and what is opinion. So let's get going with this. The first part about presentations that we won't be doing any longer in this class. And then you'll see a short assignment that used to be an activity that we did for the class. So this class isn't the only time that you'll be talking to audiences, but things to think about that we would have practiced is that you really are talking to your audience. You're talking with your audience so that they're engaged, they're part of it. You're always looking at your audience. It's a two-way contact. Take this opportunity or other opportunities now to practice using your voice, making a change so that sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's soft. Sometimes you pick up the pace and you slow it down. You give it pauses. This is how you punctuate. Certainly on the written page, the agreement of between the writer and the reader, punctuation is the agreement of how to read something. Well, you get to make that up as you go when you're doing presentations. We talked in the previous video about the range of your voice, how high, how low it is that you're going to use it. It's kind of frustrating that different microphones will raise your pitch. So yeah, the cheap microphone on this computer definitely raises a person's voice. And yes, enthusiasm always goes a long ways. Okay, here we're going to making a distinction here between opinion and fact. And then we're also going to take a look at some of the bigger universal things that you might be able to approach as you put together your final project for this class. So a judge, we're looking at some words. A judge is a person who decides the right or wrongness of a situation according to laws and customs. So you can see we're headed to justice here. In our class, we talk about revealing meanings, so a familiar term. So we're talking about universals, things that apply across all time, all space, all cultures, or as close as we can get to that. We're talking about the human condition, something that's out of the humanities, not the sciences. Justice is got these two parts. It's in part political, meaning it's tied to the laws of the community. And justice is also in part natural, or at least our culture sees it this way, and that it came before constitutions and governments. Go read our Constitution and Declaration of Independence again. You'll see these terms. So what are the natural, and yes, we in this country use the term inalienable, meaning they can't be taken away, they can't be separated. Rights of all situations and cultures. So here, universal. Not only the rights granted by the ruler or the Constitution, and those are the legal sides of justice, but the much broader. What is good for all, not just one class of people? Sorry, you can't see all of this. Yeah, we chose to write in life, liberty, including freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. What's missing there is equality, and perhaps in other classes you've talked about the difference between equality and equity. Equality is defined as everybody gets the same, and equity is more where those who need more get more, which has been a topic in our classes before. And the question there is, can we have too much of any of these? Do we totally respect life, or do we have wars? Do we totally respect life, or right now, do we keep isolated from each other? So an interesting twist to it. Can we have too much of that? Can we have too much liberty or freedom? And there are folks who say, no, everything should be available to everyone. But, as soon as it crosses into interfering with someone else's liberty or freedom, then yes, there can be too much of it. The one that we probably can't have too much of is justice. And justice, especially in the inalienable rights, justice in the courts is a little bit different. But certainly the best of judges do their best to hit that balance of competing rights, of too much of one interfering with something of another. That's the question that I asked earlier. Can we have too much? All right. I want to make a distinction here because I think this can really help you when you're out there. Well, anytime, whether it's with your family, your boss, or you're dealing with the public in a park. And the question is, are you arguing over opinion or knowledge? So looking at these two, opinion can be true or false, and if it's truly a fact, it can only be true. So yes, although we have this new term called alternative facts, which most people would say that, yeah, that means it's not a fact. So, and it is instead an opinion. I find that more often than not, people are arguing over opinions. So, and then the other complication is people are arguing over bad definitions, or definitions of their definitions are different. So yeah, we've talked in class many times that you need to really perfect your definition so that it's clear that the disagreement is about the premises rather than the definition of the word that you're arguing about. So we are going to have an exercise that was intended originally to get you up in front of the class in a conversational manner. You are going to present an opening statement and then lead a discussion, but I'm still going to have you now write the opening statement. Unfortunately, you won't be able to present it to each other because these can be pretty interesting discussions. They're meant to be controversial, the topics that I've brought up here. And they are, for the most part, opinion. They're not too many facts in these. So I'm going to give you a list. I'll give it to you here on this slideshow. You'll be able to pause the video, I guess is what you'll see it as. So here we go. You're looking at these things. Are they opinion? Are they factual? Because we do often argue over the wrong part. An opinion is your opinion. You can argue whether you agree with their opinion, but you can't really argue that that's their opinion. So you need to adjust your thinking. It can be very, very helpful to realize, oh, this whole fight is over an opinion. And yep, everyone's going to have different opinions. All right, I'm sending this to you as a Word document also. Otherwise, you can pause the video right here. Actually, pause it on the next page, more likely. I am going to read this so that we're clear. I've got a list of close to a dozen topics coming up on the next screen. You will choose one of the following statements that you may take as an assumption, or you may create an argument to defend it, or expose it as false. Or you may present the statement and discover how others agree or disagree. So opening the discussion. What you'll be writing for me now, instead of preparing as an opening speech for the class, you'll be preparing a 1 to 2 page opening statement that would then lead to a discussion. And then there's the advice that if we were doing it in class, you'd be talking to the class, looking at the class, asking questions of the class, calling on people by name. Because we all know each other now. We're far enough into the semester. Yes, remember, information content is to be interesting. However, you will be, if we were evaluating each other, you will be particularly evaluated on your ethos, meaning your character, your pathos, your passion, and your logos, which is, of course, logic. And especially we would be interested in this exercise in your presence in front of an audience. So you can't read all of that red part. I'm just saying that I'm sorry that we will not be in class together. This is a great assignment, activity in class. So you still will be writing your 1 to 2 page passionate defense or rebuttal of your topic of choice. And, since we're not doing it together, if there are other people that you are engaging with right now, either in person or on the phone, bring up this topic. Share the 1 to 2 pages that you're going to write for me. Yeah, sorry we're not going to get to present these to each other. So here are the dozen or so topics that opening prompt sentences for you to start creating either an opinion or a factual argument. And mostly these are going to be opinions. If you're looking at this on a big screen, then you can probably read them. If not, you can close this down. This is the last screen of the slideshow, and go to the written assignment in Canvas. I'll also leave a copy of it up here of the assignment up on Box.